Here we are in a brand new age, the age of information. A new century, a new millennium, a new era. Where are we headed as a society? The world is changing rapidly. The demands placed upon the graduates of tomorrow will be far greater than ever before. As educators, we must provide the bridge that will enable our students to embrace new technologies and prepare them for the challenges that await in the real world beyond their academic experience. The hardest thing to learn in life is which bridge to cross and which to burn. How will we prepare our students for this rapidly changing world? Previous methods of expanding knowledge level content will not be enough. We must find new ways to develop the relevant skill sets essential for survival in the workplace of tomorrow. Maybe it would help us see where we need to go if we could see where we've been. Schools in America started out something like this. The schools were just one room with all grades together. The teacher, most likely a woman, was called a schoolmarm. One of the few professions for women, she was the heart and soul of education. Her main focus was to teach the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic, to her pupils. Once these survival skills were mastered, the students went on to work in the fields or to marry early. Schoolmarms at times were strict disciplinarians. If anyone misbehaved, they just might get whacked on the knuckles with a ruler. Shh! Here she comes. Really, she was a beloved part of the community. Respected, loved, she had a great sense of duty. As our society was transformed from an agricultural age to the industrial age, our schools were transformed as well. Dedicated educators developed an educational system that was incredibly effective in preparing students for the manufacturing jobs that awaited them upon graduation. Together with the business community, we built the most powerful nation on the planet. Our schools looked something like this. They were larger, more organized, and were capable of teaching a lot more information. Students were required to attend for a certain number of years. More men joined the teaching profession. The students still sat in neat little rows and basically memorized information which was determined for them. Social skills and extracurricular activities were stressed. The teachers were very dedicated, just as their predecessors in the one-room schoolhouse. This model existed for a long time. Would you like to peer into the classroom of the future? It might still be in existing buildings such as this, but as you will see, will be vastly different. Neat little rows have changed into neat little workstations. What's going on here? We are witnessing a student-centered information age learning center, a performance-based learning environment utilizing project-based service learning. Just as our educational system was transformed from an agricultural age model into the industrial age model, we must now seek to find relevant education for the future. There are many dedicated educators seeking the answers to this transformation today, and many are on a convergent paths that no doubt will result in powerful classrooms for the future. Let's look at one such effort that had its beginning in Greenbrier, Arkansas, with one teacher who had a dream and the good fortune to find a lot of help in making his dream a reality. How did this happen? It started with a vision, one man's vision that is now shared by many. What happens when one throws a rock into the lake? It's called the ripple effect. Some call it the domino effect. One seemingly small gesture generates a contagion of events. Let me tell you about one man's gesture or vision which is having an amazing impact on education in America. His name is Tim Stevenson. Tim, having had an enriching career in law enforcement, decided to become a teacher. Well, after a short time in the traditional classroom, Tim became very frustrated with the stagnant state of teaching methods and the resources available. He knew his students were not prepared for the world that awaited them upon graduation. He envisioned a learning environment where students were engaged in creating their own learning, using a broad range of relevant resources, where expectations were high and students were expected to work together to solve complex community problems. He needed a high-tech computer lab equipped with the latest and relevant tools to address the complex problems the students would encounter in meaningful real-world projects. However, these tools were not available within the K-12 education, nor was the training and professional expertise required to build the knowledge base for students to pursue these new tools effectively. Seemingly overwhelming problems, but not if he could get help from outside the educational world. He found help in an Arkansas technology firm, Wellsco Graphic Solutions, who provided an awareness of and access to both nationally and internationally recognized technology resources, such as Intergraph Corporation, Unigraphics, Trimble Navigation, Oracle, and many others. This new academic business partnership formed the foundation for establishing and sustaining this information era learning environment. The results have been astounding. The EAST Initiative, which stands for Environmental and Spatial Technology, provides the hardware, software, training, resources, and support necessary for schools to provide relevant learning environments for their students. Bridging the gap between yesterday and tomorrow, closing the digital divide, building partnerships with business and industry, empowering students to learn, work, and grow together actually began with a bridge, a very small bridge with a very big future.
The EAST program started with one teacher in one class in one school, and that was at Greenbrier. Greenbrier is a small rural school, and it started with Tim Stevenson, who was an ex-policeman.
My first teaching assignment was actually in a regional juvenile detention center. My first teaching assignment in the public school was with at-risk students. These were the students that everybody had pretty well given up on. You know, the attitude was, well, there's not a whole lot to lose, just try anything. And for the most part, I think the general consensus was, just do something different, because what we're doing it's not worked. One of the first things that I did notice behind Greenbrier High School was a wooded area with a pond, a little creek running through it, and for the most part, people just thought, well, that's where you go look for kids when they're skipping class. Well, I noticed a lot of the kids I was working with were pretty familiar with that area. So I just started taking them up there. Somebody suggested, well, you know, when we go up here, we always have to jump this ditch. We started with the original project to build a bridge across that ditch so we wouldn't get our feet muddy, so that when we came back in the building after my class and went to other classes, they wouldn't get in trouble for tracking mud into the other teacher's classroom. Now that was, you know, when you talk about humble beginnings, that's really what started this whole thing. Once we started working at that, every one of those students got involved. I think somebody found a marble in the ditch, and I looked at that marble and I said, you know, that's an old marble. Well, being a history teacher, that gave me an in to start talking about the history of the area. And as a teacher, you always take opportunities as they come at you to teach. And so I remember measuring and making sure the boards were all the same length and the bridge looked like a bridge and wasn't dangerous and safe, and you know, all those things. That was the first project, building that bridge. I remember we scratched out the plans in the mud on in the ditch, you know, and the boards need to be so wide. The success those students experienced in actually accomplishing the building of a bridge that was substantial. It was a good bridge. It's still there. And it really showed me how powerful project-based learning could be. What you have to do is literally make every decision based upon how can we make this about the students and not about us.
He that would be a leader must be a bridge.
By golly, they built the bridge. They took hammers and saws and they built the bridge. And when they were building it, and all this was going on, Tim noticed that those kids were at school every day. They couldn't wait to get there.
By this time, these unsuccessful students were starting to become successful. One of the projects the kids had proposed at that time was to build a fish house. One of the students said, you know, my dad is a CAD programmer, and he might could draw these plans up for us. And I said, well, why don't we just draw them up? And somebody said, well, you need a computer, you need software, you need stuff. And I said, well, I bet we can get some.
Yeah, I'll never forget the day that I got a phone call from a classroom teacher in Greenbrier, Arkansas by the name of Tim Stevenson. And how for several weeks after that he wouldn't go away. He kept calling back. From that first lab application at Greenbrier, to be able to take that and share that success and the lessons we've learned with other educators, with students, and be able to bring real value into the classroom and into the community, I think has been a tremendous source of satisfaction for all of us.
We decided that, boy, if we could raise fish and distribute them around the state and keep track of them through this new thing called Geographic Information System, that would be like the ultimate project. If I could get those kind of advanced technology applications, that would really challenge some of the students that had not been engaged in the hands-on building of bridges or fish. The virtual world might be a way into their intellect, a path, a tool, looking for another teaching tool.
Yeah, based on those initial conversations that we had, it's hard to imagine, and I don't think either one of us would have, that we'd be on the verge of where we are today.
We've successfully replicated the results. Actually, our goal is to disappear and for school to just be that way.
As you can see, this is a new environment where technology is the hook and expectations are high. The teamwork approach is productive. One feels a corporate culture and atmosphere, kinetically and visually rooted. These students are engaged in an active rather than a passive role. They are constructing their own learning. East students use tools in architectural design, mechanical engineering, 3D animation and website development, global positioning and geographic information systems, publishing, plotting, programming, network systems administration, and database technology.
We do digital content creation, which means that I'm the guy who does the special effects on TV and on movies. Just recently, I've been involved in training and teaching classes for East Labs, teaching their students not only soft image, but what it means to be an animator and what that process involves. So when I teach the class, I'm not the teacher and they're not the students. I'm a producer and they're my animation staff. I try to instill upon them the fact that you aren't an animator, you're a problem solver. The thing that really impressed me with this entire program was the concept of enabling, empowering children with the ability to direct their own future. We're giving them an incredible boost, an incredible leg up, especially when it comes to their competitors in the real world. I don't know too many animators that are going to have 6 years experience before they hit college.
East students have even begun to integrate all aspects of digital design and production and are exploring digital filmmaking. Working together with local government, business people, and organizations, they are applying this knowledge and making meaningful contributions by using these tools to solve real-world problems in their communities. One of the most important skills East students are gaining is team building. Here are a few of the many successful team projects and the East students who work together to achieve them.
I have been working this year on the Greenbrier Fitness Trail project. For the last few years, our environmental science classes at school have been utilizing a wooded area behind our high school as their outdoor classroom. It contains a pond, a nature trail, a natural prairie, and a small greenhouse. It also includes a small area designated as a fitness area.
We've placed and located where we want the materials to go. Using a GPS, we have mapped out the nature trail, basically how we want it to lie.
Just prior to Jim and Tim coming over and the East folks coming over, there was a major news story about the haves and the have-nots of Hawaii students, and specifically with technology. And the example they used that day for the have-nots was Lahainaluna High School. We come to this conference and they win the prize for the top project. That's hugely significant. Going from being the have-not in Hawaii to coming to a national conference and winning this kind of award.
We were very, very fortunate to have a camp. 30 Arkansas students and 10 teachers came over to Hawaii to help us, and it was really exciting. The students that I saw from Arkansas were just outstanding. They could think for themselves, they problem solved. It was little things that mattered. As a teacher, it was inspiring to see these students our students actually grow from that small 2 weeks.
The name of my project is Hawaii Ahi Palekana, which translates to Hawaiian Fire Safety. A lot of the firemen, they didn't know much about the hydrants as to pressure or numbers or even location. We mapped out 7 of the hydrants to begin with, took readings with GPS, took it up to the school. We put all of our data into GeoMedia Professional. We went ahead and overlaid digital pictures to help, and we printed up maps for the fire department.
The plan that we started with was to take several pictures inside each room using a program called QuickStitch and to make a 360-degree panoramic view of the room. We then linked these to a GPS map that had been converted into a microstation map, put that into a program called Macromedia Flash, and then linked each room as a schematic onto the panorams. So now a user can go in and click on any room and see what it looks like from any angle. And our goal for the future is to provide this to both the police and fire departments, so in the event of any kind of natural catastrophe or anything like a fire, they can put this in their laptop and see what it's supposed to look like and compare it to what they actually do see before they go in.
Our project is not like any other EAST project that has been started yet. And what it is a human resource and public relations team. We take the people and we help administrate them to work with projects and group together. We have a wonderful young student named Chelsea Couch that went to Rome to represent Greenland and EAST and the United States to a conference.
3 weeks before the conference, they emailed me and said, "Congratulations, you're a finalist." Next thing I knew, we were on a plane to Rome, and so it's kind of neat to say I was a finalist in the Global Junior Challenge.
What Chelsea entered was a bigger vision of something, and when we got over there, that bigger vision of what EAST offers, many projects, really made an impression on a lot of people, from students to educators to business people to governmental people. All of them wanted that in their country.
It was one of the neatest experiences of my life.
Let's hear what some of our EAST facilitators have to say about this new method of teaching.
Our students have become the experts. If one student in one classroom is having a problem, and there's not someone in that class that can help them, normally we have someone on the campus that can, that's in another class at another period. So I'll match those people up, and they'll work with each other.
I just think that EAST is great. My students love it. I have students who are getting to experience things that are just awesome. My students are in awe of the things that they get to do. The animation training, they never thought they would ever be able to do something like that.
How many times do you tell a child that which he can do versus that which he can't do? If you kept a ledger, I guarantee you that you would be awed at the many times, the number of times that you say to a child, "I can, you can't do this, you can't do that." When the EAST project came along, I saw an opportunity to say to our kids, "You can. Take a computer, let your imaginations run wild, have fun."
But more important to me than anything else is I've seen it change the lives of children. I've even seen students who were thinking about maybe dropping out come alive again.
Most classrooms are student-centered, but they're teacher-driven. We finally had a lab where students could come in, it was student-centered, and it was student-driven.
It's exciting as a superintendent of schools to see the kindergarten love of learning in the eyes of high school students.
Facilitators have an ongoing mentorship with the Assistant Director of EAST, with continuing education and training as the focus.
EAST has given me the opportunity to work with some of the most genuine educators in the world. And as we get bigger, we're only going to get better, because each new person or entity is bringing with them a heart and a mind, with everyone focusing on the best interest of the student.
Business leaders are well aware of the ever-expanding need for technologically prepared employees. Jim Wells of Wellsco Graphic Solutions has been a major supporter of the EAST initiative from the very beginning. Let's find out why.
More and more today we get into the development side of the business, programming, database development and management, and quite a number of other areas. The mean age population of the company continues to drop as we continue to integrate more and more technology.
We desire that our kids, and we call them our kids because that's the way we look at it, we are mainly a servant role to the East Initiative. We are there to serve, as the rest of the partners are there to serve. The value that each partner will bring will definitely make East what it will be in the future. An active, living family, sharing with each other, growing across the whole United States.
Currently, the East Initiative is expanding into internships with the business community. The East Initiative has incorporated many disciplines working together. Governor Mike Huckabee can tell us more about the benefits of the East Initiative to the state of Arkansas.
Enabling students across Arkansas to do their best requires a message of constancy and purpose for the benefits of education. Like no other time in history, we stand on the precipice of accomplishing things once thought impossible. The impact of the East Initiative stands as a testimony not only to the dreams of educators whose method of instruction has been broadened through the use of technology in the classroom, but the method of technology has brought the medium of communication and problem solving to students across Arkansas. It's now a fact. The medium of technology is serving to mobilize schools to serve their communities. Applying real-world principles to real-life problems has transformed the lives of students in the East program who now see their classroom as the gateway to their future. Progress is never determined simply by process. Knowledge obtained in the East program acknowledges that cutting-edge technology critically links information to application, bringing about a solution, quick and calculated, down to the last detail. Native to Arkansas soil, the vision of the East program is being employed in other states as well. Over 100 schools actively use the East program every day in classrooms across our region. We're proud of what the East Initiative has accomplished, and we trust that many others will go to school on our lesson. The effects of East efforts extend well into the future, where today's opportunity impacts tomorrow's outlook.
What does it take to do this? A vision, faith and determination, the ability to identify and solve problems effectively, and an understanding of your team members, hard work and teamwork. What are the results? A collaboration of activity, student opportunities, improved student self-perception, students as ambassadors of change, improved community perception, and we gain renewed hope for upward social mobility. Megabytes equal mega opportunity.
This gives the high school students the opportunity to take a product like Solid Edge that's used in the mechanical and manufacturing industry and start using it from high school.
It's really important that students are getting an exposure to GPS equipment like this, because GPS is literally touching every facet of our lives.
Axiom takes a great deal of pride in the youth of Arkansas, and we're so pleased with the caliber student that we're seeing come out of the program. Their interests are so varied, but they're enthusiastic, they're excited about learning, they're hungry for technology, knowledge, whatever that means to them. And they're just incredible. We're just so pleased with the program.
What the East program very naturally does is it brings together a private enterprise from the corporate sector who support the program. It brings together the public sector in terms of these projects involving the local community. And of course it brings together education. I think as their t-shirt says, as long as you are ever mindful that East is where the students are the stars, then we'll stay focused.
The cool thing about the decentralization of Hollywood is it allows professional animators such as myself to work on projects that used to be reserved for Hollywood. I've been able to work on animations for A&E, for Fox, and MTV. The East program teaches high school students the skills they need to compete nationally.
What intrigues me about East is the ability for students to basically open up their minds and to use their skills to advance themselves in a technology that is just starting. It's very important to this state to graduate and recruit IT businesses here, and we feel like East will allow us to do that.
We're very impressed with the work we see. The students exercising collaboration on projects is very beneficial for for our user base. Our user base, they're looking for students graduating college, high school, tech schools with this type of capability.
The annual EAST Conference offers an opportunity for partners of the EAST Initiative to share their experiences and achievements.
We got involved with EAST about 2.5 years ago, and this is our first time at an EAST conference, and I have to tell you, we are so incredibly impressed. These students are so far ahead of the curve that we can't even believe it. They are intelligent, they have been exposed to a variety of technologies that exceed most commercial applications. And from what I've seen on the floor show in the last couple of days, we believe quite firmly that these students, A, have a huge advantage in what they're going on to do, but quite frankly, they are doing work that is commercially viable, and they don't even know it yet. So when they go out into the work environment, these kids are going to have the world at their feet.
All EAST students are winners. Each year, the best of the best are honored at the annual awards banquet. The National EAST Training Center in Little Rock provides an environment where students converge for week-long camps to learn specific applications, and facilitators receive professional development. Where do we go from here? Go EAST, young man or young woman. Go EAST, the EAST Initiative. You don't have to say goodbye to yesterday to say hello to tomorrow. It's the best of both worlds, where your dreams just might be greater than your memories.
We're taking over the world.